On the 28th of October 1835 in Waitangi, 34 northern chiefs signed he whakaputanga o te rangatiratanga o New Tiriti. By 1839, 52 rangatira had signed. This document declared Aotearoa as a sovereign nation united under Māori authority. Then came 1840. Te Tiriti o Waitangi was created as an agreement between two sovereign nations, Aotearoa and Britain. After the initial signing in the north, the Crown sent emissaries across the country to gather more signatures. It was a campaign of promises, wānanga and kōrero across the motu. On the 11th of May 1840, at Te Marua, on Rangitoto ki te Tonga, 13 Ngāti Koata rangatira added their names to Te Tiriti o Waitangi, on our whenua, under our tikanga. They weren't surrendering, they were upholding mana, entering a sacred covenant based on protection, partnership and tino rangatiratanga. Te kaumātoru ngā rangatira I waitohungia Te Tiriti o Waitangi ki runga o Rangitoto ki te Tonga. Ko te whetū, ko pari, ko tarapiko, ko turi te pātete, ko te rangi āhua, ko tahanui, ko horokāka, ko toitoi, ko matiu te mako, ko te ipu kohu, ko hoani te tihi tā whirikura, ko huia, ko nukumai.
Pera te haiata ki runga o Rangitoto hei tohu I te painga mai o te ao.
At the moment we're sitting at a place called Te Marua, which is a really important place in our people's history. And it's a place where four of my tupuna were among those who actually signed the Tiriti o Waitangi here. They signed a treaty in good faith, and it's 185 years, and the government has still not honoured that treaty. So that's what I think about. Unfinished business. I don't think they ever envisaged that they would be losing anything. They were promised reserves. You know, if you give us this much land, we'll give you 10%. You'll have 10% of it. So our people would have thought, okay, that's enough for us. And so they accepted that deal, and today we're still waiting for the 10% that was never given to be given to Ngāti Koata. So it's broken promises that have yet to be honoured.
I think for our tupuna signing the treaty, they must have known at that stage that there were going to be more Pākehā coming. I think they were worried about probably the element of lawlessness, and also worried about the fact that who's going to look after the Pākehā, just to make sure that there was a voice of authority that they could deal with about Pākehā problems with their people. Henry Williams was a missionary, and his job was charged with going around and gathering as many signatures as they could to give the Tiriti legitimacy right throughout the country. And so his job down here was to gather the ones in the South Island. I'm not too sure how well he did his job. I'm not too sure how well they explained the Tiriti. From what I understand, they didn't actually explain the difference between rangatiratanga and kawanatanga. I'm not even sure if they knew what kawanatanga was. I don't think they signed away their sovereignty. I can't imagine they even knew anything about that. I think they knew about the importance of the governor in terms of where he stood within the hierarchy for the English and for the British. But I don't think that they understood that whatever they were going to sign was all of a sudden going to turn into what's actually happened today.
I'm sure that when they signed it with an understanding that it was a partnership, that it was going to be shared. I wonder if they had If looking into the future, would they have signed it if they knew what was going to happen to us? Nothing's changed. Nothing has changed really. No.
So I'm the 7th generation from Te Patiti, and so it goes from Te Patiti down to his daughter Roka Patiti, then it comes down to Rangioka Haroka, then to Riria, who I'm named after, to Tuiwa, my grandmother, to my mum, Hene Kahukura, and then to me. I think it's actually quite incredible. The more I stand here and think about it, the more I'm like, wow, you know, vision, foresight, just amazing. And I hope we can reclaim that one day.
Yeah, Haere kua Tanaka, there's a real joy of being here, of the manu, the rākau, the harakeke, te whetū up here. It's massive. I don't think that there's words in the English language really to explain it. I do think it's important for Koata Ngāuri katoa to understand that we hold an important piece of the history of Aotearoa and New Zealand, and without grounding ourselves in that, it's very hard to understand our responsibilities generated from whakapapa. If we don't understand that we were a part of the building blocks of this nation, then it can be easy to disavow ourselves of the responsibilities to continue the legacies that were dreamed, the moemoe ao of our tūpuna, and the foresight they had within that moment.
Ko te iwi Māori ngā rangatira o nei whenua, ngari e tuku tonu ana mā rātou mātou e whakahaere. Ngari me pare atu tērā āhuatanga, no reira koina pia tētai take nui, I roto o te tio Waitangi, ori Aotira, he hiranga nui tō tērā whakaaro ki tōku whānau o tira, I roto I tō mātou whare, ka kaha te kōrero tia o ngā mahi porotiki me ki, tira I hua mai ai ko New Zealand ni nā te tiriti o Waitangi, tira nā te whakaputanga anō.
The decision to sign the treaty still echoes through our whakapapa. Our tūpuna didn't sign for silence, they signed for sovereignty. And yet today, the Treaty Principles Bill tried to rewrite the script, to erase, reduce and redefine the very foundation of that relationship.
On the 11th of May 1840, at Te Marua or Rangitoto ki te Tonga, one of 3 places across Te Tauihu where Te Tiriti or Waitangi was signed. 13 Ngāti Koata Rangatira signed a little version of Te Tiriti or Waitangi. In good faith, our tūpuna envisioned a future to be based on partnership and trust. The principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill undermines Te Tiriti or Waitangi, and Ngāti Koata strongly opposes the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill. I think it was important for Ngāti Koata to take a stance, to make sure that we put our point across, that we actually spoke on behalf of our people, our iwi. So that was the main keen reason. But as you read it and as you learn a bit more about it, it was a very divisive tool that the government are using to really separate what the treaty was all about.
I was actually sad that it was even there. So I was a bit angry that it had even got to that point, because along with the bill came, I feel like a lot of racist people, bigoted people, sort of felt like they got permission to start practicing again.
Any threat to our people, you know, to the very core of who we are, you know, isn't just a threat to me, it's a threat to me, my tamariki, my mokopuna, you know, my generations to come.
Hera te tuhirau I ka rangatia ke kurunga Waitangi, I rereki utai topa ki tai, I tau mai ki te Marua, he tau nei. Whakarewa ke te tuhirau kirunga, pēhia ki raro ki te tiriti o Waitangi. Ka rere te tuhirau, ka topa te puruheti, ka hoka ngā tiriki a te kāwanatanga. I mea ai te kōrero hei wiko tahi tātou, hei aha tērā.
And you think it's just a case of bringing in some legislation to strip the treaty of its mana?
Rangatira as adorned by the who we are, feather we know who we are, chief, because we truly are better than.
Working at the Tari of Ngāti Koata, we were given the opportunity to travel to Wellington and stand with our people during the hīkoi to oppose the Treaty of Waitangi Principles Bill. It was quite powerful to be able to be there, standing shoulder to shoulder with our people. I think of the whakatauki poipoi a te kakano kia puawai. And I think that's what I strive to do in that day, was plant a seed that my children can nurture and then my grandchildren can reap the rewards of that seed, knowing that you're giving them a pathway to vocalise what they want to say and be proud of it as well.
I was so elated and proud to be Māori, just to be amongst it. I was wearing a Ngāti Koata t-shirt very proudly to say this is who I am.
We joined some of the other iwi from Te Tauihu, and it just felt really like we were a part of something pretty big. Yeah. Part of this march for me was so that I could show my children and my grandchildren that actually, we need to stand up for things that we believe in.
You know, our akonga, our tamariki, even our babies, they all wrote submissions. You know, they were part of that. So that was, understanding our role within the signing of the treaty, Te Tiriti, ensures an intergenerational understanding of the responsibilities we hold. It's important for our tamariki to know that they are part of something bigger.
I ako mātou te whakaminenga, I ako mātou i ngā uaratanga o te tiriti o Waitangi, me te pire, he haai, kua tai mai tēnei pire, me he haai, o rānei he ha o nā whakahetanga I runga i a mātou te iwi Māori. I rongo ngā kare āroto, I rongo I roto I te taiao, me ngā haki e whiu haere ana, me ngā waiata e purei ana, I rongo. Whakaaro au whū, te taiao, te hau, rangi papa, te katoa o ngā mea katoa. Whakaaro au whū, he maringa nui tāku ki te haramai ki ngā kaupapa o ngā kaupapa ko te hīkoi tērā nā ai I tino pai.
Kei te tiamana o te komiti whakahaere tēnā koe, ai te iwi, kei ngā mima pāremata o Aotearoa, tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou, I tā koutou whakai mai, kia tūwai au, I mua I te aroaro, o te tini me te mano, ki te whera I aku whakaaro, o tēnei pire nei, arā, ko tāku I tēnei rangi nei, he whakahe.
I au e tuku ana o tira, I au e whakarite ana pakaru katoa te hamuti. Engari, nā te nui o te akiaki au I ora ai, me ki. Engari, I mōhua au, e kore pea e kore pea e maha ngā rangatahi a e tū. Nō reira, I hiki nā ake au te mānuka, e pai ai te tuku I te reawa te rangatahi, I runga I te papa o te whare miere o tira e marama ai, tērā komiti whakahaere, ki tā te rangatahi e rongo nei. Ki au nei ko te whakatinanatanga pai, ko te whawhai tonu, o tira ko te u ki ngā mātāpono o te tiriti o Waitangi tēnei te Treaty of Waitangi me ki. Nō reira, e koina pea, he whakatinana ngā mātāpono I ngā uaratanga o te tiriti o Waitangi, e ai te wahanga ki a rātou.
Nā mena he kaupapa, mena he kaupapa nui, whānui ake mō ngā iwi katoa o Aotearoa, ai e tika ana kia haere mātou ki era ngā kaupapa, kia tautoko I te kaupapa, kia kaua e noho pūmau, e tama noho pea, kia tama tū, tama ora ne. Kia mahi a te mahi hei pāinga mo te iwi.
Tiriti o Waitangi is the foundation document of a new beginning for our people and those who came here. It is the foundation. And we need to hold on to that, because there's nothing else that they can put in place that I think envisages that type of partnership together, heading towards a common future. So I would say that the treaty, Te Tiriti o Waitangi, is worth upholding, holding on to, and remembering that it is the foundation of this land. It is the constitutional foundation of this land. And if ever in Parliament they want to do anything, it would be to make Te Tiriti o Waitangi the constitution of New Zealand.
And when you look at the Tiriti, even though in many ways it probably was a flawed document, in today's political environment, it's still given us a voice. And I think that the recent commotion around the principles on the Tiriti has shown how much wider that understanding has gone amongst our tangata Tiriti. How all of a sudden it's expanded from just Māori understanding things to we're getting a wider understanding amongst the population.
So I think it's important to celebrate it, to acknowledge that we got to sign Te Tiriti and others did not.
I feel proud to carry on the legacy of those 13 Koata Rangatira that signed the treaty at Te Marua on Rangitoto ki te Tonga, and I will continue to fight.
I'm pretty sure that they are proud that they really can actually see a value in what they were trying to do, and they're still trying to make sure that what they were trying to do is kept true to. So it's and I think it's important that for our descendants going on, that they can see that their history continues onwards. That it's a flawed document, but it's an important document, and pretty much we still value it even 180 years after it's been signed. And we hope that it's still going to be valued 180 years from now.
Our tupuna signing the treaty in 1840-1841 in that period is as good as us signing it now. And I think that we need to not lose sight of that. And that is intergenerational. That is intergenerational succession. We have a role and a responsibility to play towards that. We have a responsibility to educate our tamariki, our mokopuna, to educate each other.
Anei, o rātou tapu wai, I whāreki, mō mātou te iwi Māori kia whaiwhai haere, I tēnei ara, kei te whawhai tonu mātou, mō tō mātou reo Māori. Kei te whawhai tonu mātou, mō tō mātou tuakiritanga. Nō reira, I runga I tērā, ko te whainga matua o tō mātou whānau, kia whāngai te reo Māori ki o mātou tamariki. Kia tū rangatira, kia tū kaha, kia tū maia, rātou katoa I roto I tēnei ao Māori.
What the treaty promises is a future together that no other country's got. We're a really amazing people, we're resilient, we're survivors, and we're not going anywhere. And they need to jump on board and sort of adopt some of the values that our people have for this space.
So yeah, I think it's a real privilege to be here today. It's taken me 37 years to make it to these hallowed grounds, and I've always felt a connection to this place, and I think that throughout life we're trying to bring this to our iwi all over the world, whether you're in Whakatū or in San Francisco. We want you to connect to your tūranga waiwai, your place to stand in the world. It's always going to be here for you. Just because you're not here, this land still remembers you, and that's something to hold on to. Ai tō mana ki te whenua.
Ngāti Koata is still here, still moving. From Te Marua to the steps of Parliament we have walked. not just in protest but in protection of what was promised, of what still matters. Because Te Tiriti was never just a moment, it's a movement. Toi tū Te Tiriti, toi tū te mana Māori motuhake, toi tū Ngāti Koata.